Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news. And welcome back to another edition of Issues in Education. Mondays during the Noon Report, we spotlight the issues impacting our schools throughout New York and Pennsylvania with Dr. Ralph Kerr at the Teaching and Learning Institute in Houghton, New York. Ralph, you survived the big snowstorm. Welcome back to the program, sir. I heard there's like 5 feet of snow in some parts of Buffalo. I don't even know what that looks like, but hopefully you did okay with the recent storm.
Yeah, well, in Houghton, we have maybe 3 or 4 inches. That's it.
Well, hey, maybe cold outside, but things are heating up in the realm of education. We're tearing apart the Hochul budget. She wants to increase aid to schools, Ralph, this year by 2.5%. I did a little research, found out that New York is already spending more per pupil than any state in the country, about $30,000 from what I could find. What should be done to ensure the taxpayers, the parents, the schools, the students, so many stakeholders, what can be done to ensure that we're getting a positive return on that investment?
Well, first of all, just let me say that the educational community is not happy with the governor. That's not enough money. They were asking for 4.8%, and 2.5 is just not going to cut it. So once you get by that, I'll answer your question.
That shouldn't cause any problems, should it?
No. First of all, let me just remind taxpayers, I hope everyone has applied for the STAR exemption. That does reduce significantly your tax bill. Parents, obviously, I'm going to say again, as we've said so many times, run for your local school board so that you can get an inside look at the budget. In terms of schools itself, student population has declined on average 13%. And yet expenses just continue to increase. That cannot continue. So one of the questions that people might ask their school, how will this increase affect student achievement in a positive way?
Yeah, we'll see how the lawmakers take this. They have till April 1st to reach a budget deal, and methinks, Ralph, that the education debate could factor big time in the months to come in Albany. Well, we're talking dollars and cents. Might as well talk financial literacy in school. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro signed that law last week, making Pennsylvania the 25th state to mandate financial literacy courses in high school classes. What are some of the money management courses, Ralph, that you think children should be learning at school?
Well, there are basically 4 things that not only students in school, but many adults as well should learn about. One is debt. And then in terms of budgeting, many of us have this idea of, I want it, I get it. We need to be looking at things in terms of, can I afford it? What's my budget? What's my income? And then the third thing is, how about some savings? You don't know what may come up, that you may need some money, and that's good to have some savings. And then probably the most difficult one for people is to look at investing your money somewhere. So those are the 4 categories. Look at your debt, look at the budgeting, savings, and investing. And if schools in Pennsylvania can help the students get a hold of those concepts, that is lifelong learning for sure.
Yeah, and that's great stuff because those kids are going to be adults soon and they're going to be running the show. So, and then finally, Ralph, Governor Hochul making it easier for schools to address the ongoing bus driver shortage. She's just instructed the DMV to implement a waiver that would allow applicants to get their license faster. I wanted to ask you, in this effort to alleviate the driver shortage, is there a risk that maybe New York State is putting unqualified drivers on the road, and is that making our children less safe? What do you think, Ralph?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, if you look closely at the waiver, it's a lot of to-do about nothing. Drivers don't have to check the oil level, the coolant level, the power steering level, the water pump. It's not a major deal at all.
Yeah.
And certainly not doing that, which will be picked up by the mechanics in the bus garages, is not putting unqualified people behind the wheel.
So on a related note, while we have a minute, there's this big push to get these electric buses on the road in New York. The governor has given them a certain date to make this happen. I read a story during last week's storms that all these Teslas with their electric batteries just just froze or like dead robots in Chicago. Is the state looking at stuff like that when they push us off this cliff of electrification?
No, they're not, but I hope they would. I mean, they've given some big hunks of money to certain school districts to test it out, and what they're going to find is electric school buses cost double to begin with, and then they're going to be into situations like that because we do have cold weather, but they're not going to be able to get the buses to start. That, amongst many other issues, in many people's eyes, including mine, just make electric buses for schools a joke. And I'm sorry that we're even pushing that way.
All right, that'll have to be the last word this week. But hey, read all about it when it comes to these literacy courses in Pennsylvania, or what's contained in the New York State budget when it comes to education. You're writing about it on your website, Ralph. Where can folks find that?
They can simply go to whyrun.org, whyrun.org.